let's look at some beans. It's so pretty. Let's try this one. Can you hear how crispy that is? And it's open. Wow, they're purple. So I opened one of these beans ages ago when the bush was still mostly green and there was one dried one on there, and they were purple as well. But I'm really intrigued by this because the ones in the packet are actually brown. Let's try some more then. I love this. I've been looking forward to doing this for so long. So I just went and got some of the original beans here that I sowed these plants from, in this pretty brown speckled colour. And these are some I saved from 1 or 2 pods that I pulled off when they were dry about nearly a month ago. And they're very similar to these ones that I've left drying on the plant, which was these ones. So it's really interesting. I'm going to try and open some more and see what else we find. Also, just for fun, I'm going to open one of these that's still soft and squishy and still has a lot of purple and colour on it. It's really pale. Interesting. Let's try this one. They're still purple. I love the colour of these beans. I'm so intrigued to know if I just keep leaving these to dry, if they're gonna go brown. Okay, maybe this one. This one, the plant right on the end, was the first one to start drying off. They're similar in size. I wonder if my dad can tell the colour. He's colourblind and there's some things, some colours he can't see or that don't actually look different to him. I'm gonna have to try them out. They're feeling so crispy, the outsides. And that's what I thought you had to wait for before you open them up to get the beans. Oop. See, look, the size is just so spot on. Whereas like I know some of these beans are bigger. That's why I was assuming maybe they needed longer to dry out. But these are so crispy and dry. Like they're breaking. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's nearly all purple. Wow. Oh, that is so cool. Look at that. Wow. They're my favorite. That is so cool. So I'm thinking, although as much as I want to open up every single pod because this is a lot of fun, I might leave them to dry out longer on the plant because I know that there's still some that aren't like super crispy. And I'll leave these ones out to dry them on. I'll leave these ones just to see what they look like. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So with our beans here, down here, there's still a lot left on there, which is good. I wanted to leave a lot just because I wanted to see what I could get. You can see there's still some really soft purple ones. And these ones, they look dry, but they still feel soft. They're not crispy. This one's crispy. I don't think there's actually any in there. I'll take that one off. We don't want it sucking any extra energy. This one's crispy. It's pretty crispy. I'll leave it drying a bit more though. Nah, let's open it. It's pretty easy to open and pretty crispy. It'd be a lot easier if I was using 2 hands, but I can do it easy enough. All purple again. So I might have to do some research as well while I wait for them to dry out a bit longer. So, dragon's tongue bush bean. A mystery I need to solve. The black Valentine bean on this side, it's not as far along drying as the dragon's tongue bean over that side. So I'm going to have a check and see how these are going anyway. There was one green pod that I opened just before, and this is what was inside. There was another pod, so this was sort of about 2 pods worth, but they're like these big sort of navy looking beans. Ooh, So this one I don't think is dry enough because they should easily slip out. And they seem to get sort of like a rounded tip. Whereas these ones are kind of, they're still sort of squished into their space, so it's more square. This one looks more dry. Bit crispier. I think it's time to get some of the original ones so we can make a comparison. Here it is. They're very similar. Cool. Well, I'll let them dry out still a little bit more, but they look good. So because I've left it drying, any of these new little beans I've found, I just pull them off because I don't want the plants to be trying to put energy into something it doesn't need to create, because we're trying to save the seeds of these ones that are already set. Oh, nice and crispy. So I've heard that when you want to save the seeds from them, you should leave just a couple on each plant, and of the plants that were maybe doing better than some of the others, if you could see that, if you could notice any difference in them, because then if you just leave a couple of pods on each of the plants, then you're going to get really good beans for saving, instead of the plant trying to spread out all of its energy into a bunch of seeds. So I'm going to try another method. I've got some of the beans that are already shelled drying outside, but I want to try and dry some of the rest of the pods just by themselves without opening them. I'm going to leave them in the pods and actually on the bush still, and I'm going to hang them up on here, so I'll show you that. Also, I'm going to try and leave some of the single pods that had detached from the plants. I'm just going to leave them out drying by themselves. So I've got this little old greenhouse here. I've just laid them out there, and I want them to get a bit of breeze, but I don't want them to blow down. So I'm just going to shut it down to there, and I might have a couple more to add in there of the other plants that I'm planning to hang up if there's some that have fallen off, and I'm going to leave them in there to dry out a little bit longer, and then I'll shuck them. Alright, so I've decided to leave it like this for now, just on the cardboard, and to leave it open, and then if it looks like it's going to rain, then I'm going to cover it up. I'll see how that goes. It felt like it was getting a bit too moist and humid in there, so we'll try this. I've got a bean plant here to string up, and I've got some string here that's just tied up to the rafters up there. Okay, so there's my bush there to string up, and I've got some string hanging from here that I'm going to tie onto the bottom of the plant so I can hang it upside down. I want it to hang so it's not super in the way, and also so that if any rain comes underneath it doesn't get wet, but it gets a nice amount of airflow through here. I'm going to put some of the string, I'm going to thread it underneath one of the branches there and tie a knot, and then I can just hoist it up to about there. Like that. We've got the two there hanging, and I've just tied it up the top there and tied it down there. And my husband always says that if you don't know knots, tie lots. So that's what I've done, so hopefully they don't fall down. So some of them are crackly, some of them are a bit soft. So let's leave them to dry here, because I'm getting very keen to plant some more stuff in the garden, so I really want the space. So that's why I've decided to try and string some up there and dry. They love it. They love it. Zinnias. Get zinnias. I just lost my clippers. Not wearing my tool belt. So I'm just cutting above where it's in the ground and leaving the roots in the ground so it can just decompose and add to the organic matter of the soil. Okay, let's go string you up. We've still got string up there from when I hung out some basil to dry, so I'm going to use that. And that's done. I'm going to go get all the leaves and put them into the compost, because you don't want to get rid of them. You want to keep them. There's our 3 hanging bean plants. They're all the dragon's tongue bush bean ones. We're gonna get some rain soon, but these have been out in my little greenhouse in this nice black tray for nearly 10 days now. And they sound really crispy. I can see some beans already starting to fall out. So I'm gonna open them all up so that then I can save the bean seeds to then sow again when I want. Whoa. They're definitely dry. Wow. When I twisted it to open a bit, it fully twisted itself. They are really keen to be opened. I love these ones. They're so pretty. They've been drying for ages and they're still purple, so I'm just going to save them like that. So you can see some of them have a little bit of discoloration on them. Some of them have a bit of brown, but it doesn't look like they're turning to the colour of the beans that I sowed with. I'm going to take out the beans from these ones too. So I'm super happy with how all of that went. I loved watching the beans grow, getting to eat them. They tasted great, and being able to learn about drying them and finally now collecting them. So I'm going to store these in little Cliplock bags. You can store them in jars, like mason jars, but just need to make sure that they are airtight so that no moisture gets in, because if you get any moisture going in, then they're likely to spoil or mold. So thanks for coming along with me. It's been great.